Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another edition of ILFL Soccer Nights. We'll be discussing footballs, Sunday football, vets football and all matters relating football. First of all, I'd like to thank two of my guests, Nanu and Ajmal, who will be discussing all football matters that happened in the last week. First of all, let's crack on by talking about the Premiership. It was an exciting day yesterday. Both myself and Nanu were there present watching a few of the games. First result, the morning game, Bromley winning 7-3 against Stepney, which was not expected. If I can quickly go to Nanu, what do you think of the result? Bromley winning 7-3, loads of goals, and Stepney conceding 7 goals. It's not something we heard of.
It's quite a convincing win for Bromley. I have to admit, scoring 7 goals past Stepney. But, at some point we did say that, Stepney, having been using senior players all season round.
To be honest, a lot of vets players as well, because they play Thursday and on Sunday.
Yeah, actually, that's what I actually meant.
Okay.
So anyway, with that many goals scored, he only says one thing, is that fatigue is actually kicking in with Stepney, and they've not been playing many games recently as well because of a few forfeits and stuff like that. So,
but to be honest, saying that, top of the league, so you can't for them. They can't be using that as an excuse, because if that was the case, how come they're on the top of the table or winning a lot of games?
Well, early on in the season, they had the legs. It was all fresh, and this time down the season, we're sort of in the middle of February now, and these old legs would have been used up, all of the resources, and now they're probably struggling.
I think what the case could be is that Bromley have transformed themselves. I know Hamid is now changed his team. There's a lot of new players, especially in the Interleague Champions Cup. He's brought in a lot of new faces, and he's serious about the cup itself, because he's in the semi-final of the cup itself and the League Cup as well. So now the momentum's there. He's bringing them in the league, and in the league we knew likes of teams like Bromley, Robin Hood will make an impact in the league itself. Let's look at the other results. The one me and you are watching. The very enticing Reach Out versus
That really
Beaumont.
was a good game to watch.
Beaumont winning 3-2 with Reach Out. Now that really opened up the obviously league table itself. What was your thoughts on the performance of the game itself?
I think it was tenacity end of the day from Beaumont, because they didn't give up. Reach Out had more confidence in what they were doing, and they probably thought that this is a game that we can win, and that wasn't the case. Okay, not taking anything away from them, they did play very well. But Beaumont kept attacking, and I think what actually made the difference was that Beaumont were disallowed 2 goals, and the referee made the decision against them that these were not goals. So, and I think that's what actually made them keep trying and trying, because they would keep pushing and pushing, and they kept at it, and they didn't stop, which is why I say, and I think tenacity actually did the job. They just kept attacking and attacking, and they scored those 2 goals, and quite convincing win as well.
To be 2-1 down against Reach Out, we know a very good side, and to then score 2 goals and win 3-2 says something. I think credit to Arif, the manager. I think he knew the result of Stepney and Bromley, and knowing that Stepney dropped 3 points, this was the opportunity to make a difference in the table itself. So he had the team pumped up, the team was ready. Yes, they were 2-1 down, but the passion, the drive they showed, it was evident, and obviously they deserved it. And hopefully we'll see what happens in the league table in the next segments. The other result on the Premiership was St. Catherine's draw with Robin Hood Tigers 3-0. Now again, we knew Robin Hood Tigers, they got the legs, they got the passion. St. Catherine's fighting for their lives. That is a very, very worthy 1 point, when you say.
That was. And I've noticed that St. Catherine's had some of the strikers. One of the strikers was back again, and I'm not sure if he actually made the difference, but 3 goals have been scored, so it just says that they probably had some good players playing for them. For Robin Hood, I don't know, I mean, you'd imagine that Robin Hood probably should have gone past St. Catherine's. Maybe they walked in there with too much confidence, and it's that time of the season again when Robin Hood starts struggling. Even if they were at the top, after about 4 months into the season, they seem to struggle year in, year out. So it's probably a trait. But anyway, I mean, both teams came out with 1 point, so let's see what happens.
If I can get Ajmal into this next conversation, obviously Hawk and Eagle had a week off. I believe obviously you were away abroad on Dubai. First, you want to tell us a bit more about the tour, the trip, the excitement, the events that undertook?
Well, yeah, it was a 7-day tour we did. It was, first of all, it was brilliant. It was my first ever tour, and we played 3 matches out there. First game we won, the second game we lost, and the third game we drew. So it was a combination of all 3 results, which is quite interesting too.
How was the weather, first of all? Because obviously it was snowing in London.
Well, it was hot. We did have one day of rain, which was a bit interesting because even the Dubai public was celebrating because they've never seen rain before. But for us, we were a bit disappointed in that aspect because we wanted to see sun and heat. But yeah, no, that was a bit interesting in terms of the weather. But it was quite warm compared to here. So yeah, absolutely glad I was there rather than here.
And I know one of your team members came and said obviously the idea behind it was more of a team building. Did you look to other activities, and how was that actually planned out?
So we did a safari tour, which was like where you go into jeeps and you do a sort of like a desert tour, and then you go into like a little camp where you have some kind of entertainment as well, which was brilliant. The team, you know, there's 22 players, and we've got a mixture of, you know, very cosmopolitan team at Hawk and Eagle, and everyone bonded brilliantly. You know, people taking pictures with each other, different groups getting, you know, on. So
it's a bit of football and a lot of fun, basically, at the end of the day, basically.
Definitely a lot of fun.
So hopefully,
I would say quite a bit of football because there were 3 games, you know, and in a week-long tour, you know, 3 games is more than enough. And I think at the end of the day, if at all, the players bonded very well. And as you can imagine, not all players turn up every week in, week out, and a lot of players haven't actually got to know everyone properly. And as Mo said, it's quite a cosmopolitan team.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the team bonding was absolutely fantastic, and you know, our sort of thanks to Kamruz and Kois for leading in that aspect. You know, we talked about this over a year ago. It was Kamruz's and Kois's vision, and they made it happen. So you know,
so all it was a worthy call.
It was very worth it. You know?
So hopefully, you know, next week you can bring some videos, some clips, and we can actually see you guys in action in Dubai, exactly what you did, etc. Now, coming back to the football matters, obviously you had a week off.
Yeah.
Obviously, your situation is not exactly the best to put it mildly.
No.
You're fighting a relegation battle against 2 other teams, St. Catherine's and Tigers.
Yeah.
Next week you got a game. You have got a game next week against Ace, I believe.
We do, yeah, and that's going to be a very, very tough match. You know, Ace are fighting for, you know, the title. The fortunate thing is we are sort of like not completely bottom of the league. We're 3rd from bottom, which gives us a little bit of cushion. Wanted, you know, Robin Hyder to beat St. Catherine's, so, you know, they could drop a point, but they did well, you know, in terms of getting a point.
But it's still in your hand. You know, it's your destiny. You control it. You get some more points, because I believe you're on 9 points, and St. Catherine's on 7. So you've got 2-point cushion, but you definitely need to make a gap there. A win will really, you know, create a gap, 5 points gap.
Definitely.
With St. Catherine's. And how are the team? Are they ready for? They got the break. They had the bonding. Are they ready for the action?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's interesting because in the last game of Dubai, the actual way our team performed in terms of pressing was fantastic. So, you know, hopefully they could actually mirror that back in the league when it starts for Sunday, because I think their fitness level is slightly going to be a bit better as well. You know, group bonding, so the communication amongst the pitch would be much better as well. So I think those aspects will actually.
So hopefully next week we should see the proof of the pudding of the tour itself. Has it been a benefactor factor,
Inshallah.
or has it been
Inshallah.
reverse factor? Coming to you, and obviously you've got 2 hats on. You've got the ILFL, and also you're involved with the Hawk and Eagle. How do you see them obviously next week against Ace? Ace on a very good on a run, potentially a championship, you know, contender. Can you see any upset there?
I don't know. I mean, we're not exactly giant killers. We haven't fared very well against some of the top teams, and Ace is right at the top in the mix, looking like a 4-horse race now. Yeah. It's going to be tough, if anything. But anyway, having said that, Hawk and Eagle have had enough time to think about their approach as well in Dubai, and a few of the games that we played, you know, it was really, really good games, you know. The first one was fairly easy, you know, scored quite a few goals as a team. We played the pressing game. The second one was against a very tough opponent, and because it was at home turf, Hawk and Eagle found it quite difficult, but there's a lot of lessons learned from that game. And then on the last game, we kind of drew against the opponent, so that was a very good result. And as Mo said, you know, there was a lot of things that we've actually learned and picked up, because, you know, you go different places, people play different kind of footballing, and, you know, you have to adapt to the style of football that they play. And if you're not the stronger team, then you have to adapt to their style. We'll
have a look at the table, but obviously on the next segments we can show the general public the table itself. We know there's 4 teams, obviously from as a manager: Reacher, Ace, Stepney, or Bowman, all on 25 points, going for the title. Now you played against all of them. If I had to say which teams are most likely to go ahead and win it, who would you put your money on?
Well, it's interesting when you were talking about results of Reach Out versus Bowman, because I actually tipped Reach Out a couple of weeks ago. I actually said Reach Out is my favourite team in terms of the way they play. You know, their communication, the way they actually play together, you could see that, you know, they played very experienced side. Bowman surprised me, and I think we were talking about the other week when we watched them. They've got a nice balance of youth in there as well. They've got a lot of talented players, but with that extra youth, I think it just brings out a bit of spice into their performance. So if you was asking me what team, you know, to go for, I'll definitely still stick with Reach Out. And the dark horses, I would say I'll tip Bowman just to see if they could actually come runners up.
I think all four have a chance.
Definitely,
Obviously,
definitely.
you know, we've never been in this situation before. It's always been a two-horse race.
Two-horse race with the third one, maybe.
To have 4 teams within 4 weeks left in the league
4 or 5
itself,
weeks left,
you know, it's amazing. It's competition. It's
amazing.
exciting, isn't it?
I know. I mean, this far down the season, having got 4 teams, you know, on parallel run, it's just amazing. And I'm just wondering how Bowman actually feels about beating Reach Out and Reach Out missing on those 3 points, because, you know, it was a very close game end of the day. Yeah, 4 teams, very exciting. A 4-horse race, never mentioned that before. It's usually 2-horse race. And
I think that's the exciting part, because potentially every week we could have a new top of the table.
The dynamics will change every week. Points will be gained and lost.
I was going to say, the question is, can we see a last final match decider in terms of so
Funny
close?
you say that. Last season, I was watching 2 potential teams could have won it. In the last 5 minutes, it was decided between London Tigers and Reach Out. Reach Out conceded a goal, and on goal difference, London Tigers won it. So last 5 minutes was a deciding factor for the whole of the season. Now, that was exciting, but it was between 2 teams. But if it comes to 4 teams, we will have to have a lot of manpower to watch a lot of games with the shield itself.
So
it's exciting. It shows competitiveness, and you know, we like these kind of things. And hopefully, you know, it goes to the last game. I think that's more exciting to the league and team itself. But credit to Bowman, Arif for getting the result. Credit to Hamid for Bromley getting the results. We will discuss and show you the table. We'll discuss more about the Division 1 fixtures, the vets to come yet, and other projects that are coming in soon. So we're going to take a short break. So we'll see you after a few minutes on the other side.